Shikishito, the treasured Korean village heirloom, whose name means seven-branched sword. It is said that this sacred sword represents life itself. Though the branches may appear to be infinite, the choice is limitless. Like our destinies, the sword comes to but one end, one merciless point. And when the silver cord, the fragile thread that binds us to this world, is severed, the illusion is revealed and the implacability of fate is finally laid bare. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations walkthrough. It is time to begin the final case of the game, Bridge to the Turnabout. And oh, I love this case so much. Like, I would say, pretty much, Bridge to the Turnabout is easily, I think, my favourite case in the entire franchise of what I've played, because it is one of those final cases that just does everything you could ever ask for in a final case. Like, it's the perfect end to this game, because it works in all the little threads that have been woven throughout, and also it's just a fantastic finale to the trilogy of the Nick games, so Ace Attorney, Justice for All, and Trials and Tribulations. Because there's so many callbacks in terms of things that happen, characters that turn up, and it feels like this is everything that the franchise had been working to. Even if that wasn't necessarily the case, it feels like this is the right destination for everything that has happened. And it's also just a really fun trial in the grand scheme of things, because you get lots of investigation happening, you get lots of trial, and it just feels really weighty, and there's a good amount to get your teeth into. And, well, doesn't somebody look familiar, eh? But that should be kind of impossible, since she's, you know, meant to be very dead. How fascinating. Well, it says, should still be in prison. She dead. She very dead. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, she got executed because she had what was coming to her, like, because, I mean, my god. But it is a fascinating thing for a nun to be looking so similar to that demoness, as I feel I shall call her, because ultimately that is a word that is used to describe Dahlia Hawthorne. It's very fitting. And this is something I find quite funny. We're meant to be in, like, California-ish area, and we've got a very typical Japanese temple/shrine area. And it's just like, what? And I mean, so I think technically it is possible, because there are a few Buddhist temples in California. Few. You've got the Vista Buddhist Temple, the Northern California Kyosan Temple, and I think that's probably the main one. You also apparently have the Enmanji Buddhist Temple, the Gardena Buddhist Church, and so on and so forth. But I don't think you'll ever find anything quite as quite like this in the USA, because why would you? It's a very typical thing to find in Japan, so it's at this point where I really do just wish that they had just stuck with the game being set in Japan, because that would have saved so much trouble with trying to explain or get away with the oddities that can only really be understood in Japan. Like, I mean, the whole thing with Tribulations, like in the US and in the UK and so on, French restaurants are not a major oddity. But I mean, I don't really know if they are a major oddity in Japan, but I would suggest probably so, because they're two monumentally different cultures. And I don't know, it's probably a slightly false image of Japan, but I've always seen it as being particularly insular with regards to its cuisine and its culture. And to be fair, that's probably a reasonable assumption to make, considering in many ways it has been insular, and if you look at the way certain games companies have reacted to certain things, they're very much focused in on themselves, which is totally fair. But it's that whole thing of the game is like the world of Ace Attorney is clearly set in Japan, so just roll with it. Like, I feel fine with them changing the names and stuff, because that's the type of thing where you can get away with it. We're in anime territory, and all of the characters have quirky enough names that the localizations they don't seem out of place to me at all. So I think they could have gotten away with it. They could have gotten away with Maya's obsession with hamburgers as well. So they would have been good. And Svari! Nice little callback to the stolen turnabout there, and Look At Me. And I have to say, I am loving Elise Donim's hairstyle. It's giving me major Bayonetta vibes. And I do just find that quite hilarious, because I can't actually remember when I first played Trials and Tribulations. It was a very long time ago now. Before I touched Ace Attorney and Justice for All, I know that much. And actually I'm going to see if I've got the data where I'd be able to figure out that timing. Probably won't be able to be fair, but it's worth a hunt, because I always love that sort of information, and it's not looking likely. Because I've got... yeah, no, that's annoying. Well, it was at least before 2011. So it could have been 2010. 2009, so it might have been before Bayonetta, it might not have been. But I do find it hilarious that my favourite case in this game involves a character who looks very much like one of my favourite characters of all time. Oh, how funny. But it's all good because I do find Elise O'Nim to be a fascinating character. Because obviously this is the first time we've seen her, and she's a very mystical lady. Children's book writer. Got a staff, which is a little bit odd if you ask me. And just generally being a lovely lady. So, I have to say it's not looking good for her, to be fair. Because, obviously, we have seen partially what is going to take place in this episode of the game. And there are 3 characters that we are aware of. There's Sister Bikini, who is very clearly not the victim. There's Sister Iris, who could be the victim, but it doesn't quite look likely, and to be fair, considering the whole connection to, well, visual connection, shall we say, to Dahlia Hawthorne, I think it's unlikely to be her. And so it's not really leaving many other potential victims left. It's just like, I'm really sorry, Elise. You're probably going to die today. And that's not going to be pretty. And, oh! Dusky Bridge! Also, now we got to see a map earlier. This is all sounding remarkably familiar. Like, really ridiculously familiar. Like, I did commentary on something relating to this, like, the other week, perhaps. Something to just keep in your noggin. It's very important. Although I have to... why you'd call a bridge Dusky Bridge is beyond me. Because... well, you wouldn't want to be crossing this bridge at dusk. Because if it got dark, there's no lights. It seems really, really rickety and awful. And you'd probably just go... plop down the middle. Like, you just one of the bits of wood would just give way, you'd be in the river, and you'd be dead. But, oh well, these things happen. And, oh, that's a nice little hut of a temple. I know that they say that it looks like it could collapse at any moment, but from the angle we're given, I think it looks quite nice. A little bit homely and... ooh! Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? I don't know whether that is a reference to a particular song or not, but I do just find it quite funny. Because, I mean, it's like rain. On your wedding day, it's a free ride when you've already paid. It's the good advice that you just didn't take. Who would have thought it figures? It's been a long time since I've done anything with that song, and it's hilarious because a lot of the things pointed out in that song are not ironic. But I would say that a spirit medium being scared of ghosts is definitely ironic. And here is this mysterious Sister Iris, which she's just a really fascinating character, definitely. I mean, obviously the fact that she looks so similar to the Demoness is one thing, but what's really lovely is that her name in every language comes from the iris, which is obviously a kind of flower. So those names being Ayame or Iris, basically. And the iris in the language of flowers symbolises good news and luck. Its 3 upright petals are said to represent faith, valour and wisdom. You also have an iris in Greek mythology, who was a goddess who was the personification of the rainbow and a messenger of the gods. She would travel via said rainbow, and by acting as a messenger served as a link between humanity and the gods. Also, Iris is the only human character in the entire series, outside of Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, who is referred to using her first name only and never by her surname. So, a bit redundant there, but she is only ever known as Iris or Sister Iris. Her surname does not come into it whatsoever. And, oh! Oh, it's Larry. You didn't think we were going to get through the rest of the game without seeing Larry again, did you? And yes, he may be calling himself Laurice Donim. Or Dunham, I suppose. But it's still Larry. Still eternally Larry. I'm not quite sure what the bows are. Really not sure what the bows are. But I suppose he's trying to be artsy. That's why he's got the beret. That's why he's got the monkey and all paint splotches and so on. But this is actually quite fascinating, because the whole reason that Larry is here is because he felt awful after the stolen Turnabout, as he damn well should, because someone died because of him. Well, they didn't die because of him, but the murderer was not caught because of him. So he read a picture book for kids, because clearly he's not too smart, is our Larry, and then felt that he had to be her apprentice, or so on. But that said, he did take a damn good photo of Elise Donin, because, like, that was a freaking good photo. How to say, ever since starting my job, and because of where I've ended up falling into in terms of what parts of that job I've ended up doing, I kind of became, or have kind of become, for the time being at least, the unofficial official photographer for the venue. Like, if we're not getting in a professional photographer to do stuff, it's probably going to end up being me. And surprisingly, I actually really enjoy photography. Didn't think I would. Because I go on holiday, don't take snaps. It's not me, at all. I just like to enjoy and experience the moment in reality, rather than going snap, 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 snap. But I suppose when you're at work, it's a very different kettle of fish. So, rather than trying to take in the experience, I'm there to do a job, therefore I can separate it, I suppose. But I do find it's really good, and I love it. And I wish I could have taken a photo like that of Elise Donin, because that was freaking good! Also, I don't really like Pearl running about by herself. She's ridiculously young. This is not okay. Like, she's 8, and we are letting her run about an icy snow-covered mountain by herself. It's not okay. It is not safe in the slightest. But there we go. Now you may be wondering, we've gone quite a ways into this part without anything happening. And you'd be right. This is a slow build, shall we say. We're getting happiness, chill bliss before the storm, because you know it's all gonna go to pot. Like, really to pot. So, do just need to be ready, because you never know when the emotions can come and try and get you. Like, I mean, I made the not so smart, but I'm quite glad I did, decision to watch Monster Calls at the weekend. And it's a phenomenal film. Absolutely phenomenal, beautiful, but oh my god, I was not expecting the... Well, I was expecting some feels, but I was not expecting quite the level of feels that I got. Like, I've said before, I cry at lots of things. Numerous video games that have left me weeping. Not majorly, but a couple of tears. But that film... Actual ugly crying. That doesn't happen regularly. I think I can only distinctly remember maybe 2 instances of that whilst watching a film. One of which was Toy Story 3 at the end. I'd come home from sixth form and it was on, and it was that bit, and it was before I went to uni, and I just snapped. And then the only other time apart from that, it's not a film, but the end of Torchwood Series 2, I was emotionally traumatised by that, because oh god, I cried for like half an hour after that. But yes, you never know when the feels are going to hit, so you do always need to just be a little bit prepared. But here we go, we're finally going to dig a little bit into who Iris is. Not majorly, but just try and find out what she's about, because she doesn't seem to know. Well, she doesn't really know us. But she does look remarkably like Dahlia, and that is just ludicrously suspicious, so something just doesn't sit right with me, eh? Oh, it's a dark, cold night. This is not going to end well. At all. For any of us. And oh! That is very suspicious. And oh, that's a major Cyclock. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of 5-lock Cyclocks to deal with in this case, so get ready for it, because, oh my word. And I told you that it wasn't going to end well. Something was going to happen, and here we go. And I see it already. I told you it wasn't going to end well for Elise. Oh, bloody hell, it just gets worse and worse and worse! Someone's dead, the bridge is burning, oh my bloody days. Yes, Nick must have been crazy. Why would you run across a burning frickin' bridge? How stupid! And that's the end of Phoenix Wright Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next playthrough. No seriousness. Please come back when we begin part 2 of the investigation.